Welcome to the guide for the playable character Yumi in the new Spy vs. Spy PvP game, Deceive Inc. I'm BlackTalon and I hate intros, so let's get right into what you came here for. To give an overview, Yumi is categorized as a disruptor character, and disruptors are experts at controlling space and disturbing the flow of fights. And Yumi does just that. She is equipped with an active ability that can launch EMP bubbles or fields that can slow enemies and destroy enemy gadgets. Not to mention that rivals see your EMPs as a dark red color, making their vision more obscure when trying to shoot into or outside of this field, giving you a valuable advantage against your rivals. She also comes with a handy set of passive abilities that help her get gadget cooldowns much faster than everyone else, as well as a chance to create a potential minefield for unsuspecting enemies with one of her passives. She may require a little more skill to use, but she is a solid character that can fit both aggressive and passive playstyles. So let's get into some more of the details of this character and their abilities. So starting with her special ability or her active ability, there are 3 different possible variations. For the first, we see she has the classic EMP field. So Yumi will use her slingshot to launch an EMP pellet that creates an EMP field on contact. Yes, and this is a bubble in shape, not just a dome. It shows up as a dome if you shoot it on a flat surface, but it will expand based on where you shoot it. This EMP field will slow your rivals and also reveal their cover if they're inside, and any gadgets that are inside this bubble will be instantly destroyed as well. This is a very valuable skill as it can instantly get rid of any enemy gadgets like tripwires or hacks, and maybe if you walk into a room and just smell a character using a mimic, you can snuff them out pretty easily with this ability. Or you may launch it into a crowd because you're not sure who in there is a rival, and you'll quickly be able to reveal who it is. You likely want to engage enemies with this to catch them off guard and slow them from the start of a fight to make it more easier for you to take them down. Just be wary that this will also take off your cover, so use it wisely and hopefully you're sure when you're launching it. Her second variation of this EMP field is actually a healing field that will heal you and your allies while standing inside. So you always have healing on the go, and even in an engagement you might stand inside of it while you cause damage to whoever's outside or inside with you. No need for a med station. Her last variation is my personal favorite. It's called the EMP flock. Now this is identical to her first variation, only you'll be able to shoot up to 3 slightly smaller EMP fields. And the great part about this is if you only use 1 or 2 of the 3, you can put the ability on cooldown and wait for a reduced period of time until you have all 3 back. This is very useful if there are multiple areas that you want to check for enemies in an area, or if you launch an EMP field and you happen to miss, you still have 2 more shots to find out who your rival is. You might even launch it in a bunch of areas to cause some obstacles for your enemies who are chasing you or trying to get away, to make sure that you can catch them in time. Now let's get a look into her weaponry. So Yumi is equipped with an experimental slingshot that at the first variation shoots just 1 solo pellet, but later can be upgraded to a spread shot. Now I will say using Yumi initially can be very difficult, because you may not have many useful gadgets at the very beginning of this game, and the slingshot isn't as rapid firing as your rivals, and you need to be more accurate when you're landing those shots. So you might find yourself getting down pretty quickly until you get the hang of how to use it, but don't give up because she gets really good as you continue to play with her and unlock more of her abilities. Later, one of her weapon variations is also a high damage long range pellet, which by the end of your character progression you'll likely have more experience and skill, so this can be very useful to you, especially at a distance taking down some targets. Next, let's look into Yumi's passive ability variations. So her first ability is Quick Fix, which gives Yumi a significantly reduced cooldown for gadgets that are destroyed either by herself or her rivals. This is my preferred passive because it gives her the ability to put down her gadgets and use them constantly in areas and battles that help her succeed over her rivals. As you can see, an enemy might destroy a turret, for example, and it comes right back. And we'll talk more about this when we cover gadget choices in this video. Her second passive variation is called Energy Catalyst, and this allows her to get her EMP back much faster if she destroys an enemy gadget, which can pair very well with EMP Flock. Her final passive is booby traps, which allows her to destroy her gadgets and leave behind a mini EMP field. And this may take some skill to use, but if used the right way, it can give you a serious advantage on maps. For example, you might throw out a bunch of tripwires and destroy them, which will leave behind many little EMP fields that can either stop enemies that are trying to get away or slow them down as they're trying to catch you. So very useful in a variety of circumstances. Okay, now let's talk about the fun part, gadgets. Now there is an array of gadgets that you can choose from, and ultimately the right gadgets that you pick depend on your personal playstyle and also how you want to engage or work a map. So don't feel that my suggestions are the best. Really, you can pick whatever you like based on your preference. But I believe to maximize Yumi's potential, you should play into her perks. For example, her passive allows her to get back gadgets instantly, so it wouldn't be as effective to use gadgets that have no cooldown, such as Mimic and the Recon Goggles, just because they have no benefit from the perk or her other passives. To get the most out of her passive, you should use gadgets that can be destroyed or used in a variety of areas with a cooldown, such as the turret or maybe even the tripwire. These gadgets you're able to post up in an area as you are searching, and you can just as easily destroy them and put them back up as you continue to move to another spot. You might even use the bullet shield as your rank increases, and you'll be able to post it up quickly in, out, and during different fights. Now you might not have access to some of these gadgets early on, which can make Yumi a little difficult to play since you can't really play into her passive perk as much as you would like. But until you do, you can still find value in other gadgets. For example, the Mimic is very valuable as it will help you generally to be the engager of fights and not be caught in a bad situation or in a corner. But just be careful of how you use it and pay attention, because sometimes even a Mimic that looks out of place may be snuffed out by others. The last area that we will talk about are field upgrades. Now when it comes to field upgrades, it's really completely up to you based on your playstyle, which ones you would like to use and in which spots. These are the ones that I use for Yumi personally, but again, based on your playstyle, you can choose the ones you would prefer. For example, for the gold field upgrade, if you are more aggressive in your playstyle and you find yourself being more aggressive toward the end of the game, you might go for health, so that way you can survive longer in some of your skirmishes. But for me, for example, I'm more of a strategic player and I always go for the case. So I actually opted for the reduced intel leak, so that way I can try to confuse my enemies as I move to different extraction points. But ultimately, the ones that you use and in which spots are completely up to you. Now, just for some additional tips when playing Yumi, obviously her weapon is single firing and it may be a little difficult to use at times, and it's definitely not as quick as some of your rivals' weapons. So you definitely want to be the one to initiate fight, so that way you can have the upper hand. So you might want to just make sure that you're patient at times. Sometimes you want to get the right setting to catch your opponents off guard, so that way you can minimize their chance to fight back and take them down pretty easily. Also, if you find yourself in a bad situation, there is no shame in running away. See, if someone has the upper hand on you, you can get away quickly if you just get to moving, and you can find some cover, recover, and get back into the NPC shuffle like nothing happened. That is all I have for my Yumi guide. Give the video a like if you find this helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. And typically, as part of my main videos, I always shout out a smaller channel to help them grow and get exposure. So if you believe in my cause, please support the channel to make a bigger platform for those who really put their heart and soul into their content and just need a little more help to find success. But thank you for watching, and in honor of this 70s style game, love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll see you guys next time.